Hello everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today, Getting an Educational Assessment for Express Entry and the WES Process. I'm Karim Al-Assal, the Policy Director at CanadaVisa. An ECA is an educational assessment report that is required by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada for those seeking immigration to Canada under certain economic class programs. Getting an ECA is not only helpful when you are seeking permanent residence, but it can also be beneficial for employment, licensing, and higher education upon arrival to Canada. As such, we've invited World Education Services Canada to help you understand how you can obtain an ECA and benefit from it in support of your Canadian immigration goals. Our WES expert speakers will give a short presentation of about 20 minutes or so, where they will walk you through the topic of getting an ECA and the benefits to you. They will then spend the remainder of the webinar answering your questions. We've received your questions via email prior to the webinar, and we'll answer as many of them as we can in the second half of this event. For those of you who have emailed us questions with your WES reference numbers, what we'll do shortly after this event is we will hand these emails over to WES, and they will do their best to continue to assist you. You are also welcome to type your questions in the chat box on your screens, so please feel free to do so now or throughout the course of the webinar. Please note we are able to answer general questions about ECAs. For more specific questions, we invite you to contact WES after this webinar, and we will share their contact details with you in the chat box on your screens. We also ask you not to share your WES reference number or discuss your personal WES application in the chat. This is to help protect your confidentiality. Again, we will invite you to connect with WES after this webinar for further assistance. I'm happy to note this webinar is being recorded. We will send you a recording of the webinar by tomorrow. Now, let me go ahead and introduce our two speakers. Ruth Demeke joined WES in 2011. She's a primary contact person for WES's strategic partners, including IRCC, operations team, provincial nominee programs, immigration lawyers, licensed immigration consultants, and the settlement sector. Welcome, Ruth. Kevin Kamel has managed WES's institutional client relations team in Canada for nearly 23 years. He works collaboratively with all stakeholders in Canada's international academic credential assessment and recognition community. Before joining WES, Kevin worked in the private and public sectors. So without further ado, let me go and hand things over to Kevin to begin the presentation.
Thank you, Karim. Thank you for that introduction, and huge thank you, big thank you from WES for CanadaVisa for including and inviting WES for this session. This is the outline of the conversation myself and Ruth Demeke have prepared for you. We will first talk about WES, then credential recognition. We will talk about our services, and we're going to try to talk those aspects that they are very relevant for your purpose, for immigration purpose. Then we will talk about WES application process, and we will cover some of the free tools and services that WES offer to public at large. So about WES. The organization has a stated mission. Our mission is to help people learn, work, and thrive in new places. We help society recognize the value of people's education and experience. And our vision is everyone is able to put their education and experience and skills to work anywhere in the world, and not necessarily just in Canada and the US. So you may want to know next year, very soon actually, in about 6 months, we will be celebrating our 50th anniversary. That is huge for us, and Some of the key kind of milestone that is relevant for this session, I will highlight it here. First, the organization was established in 1974. In 2000, WES was introduced to Canada based on a request for proposal by the Ontario government. And in 2018, in Canada, we launched the WES Gateway program. This is a specific evaluation process or credentialing process for those who are displaced or refugees who do not have official academic documents. In Canada, we have 121 staff, and last year, you may want to know, we assisted about 348,000 individuals or applicants going through our credential evaluation process. Now, from that 348,000, this is our top 10 countries of education. Again, I have to emphasize, we don't capture country of birth. We mainly capture country of education, and this is the top 10 country of education for us. And with that introduction you shared with us this morning, I am certain that that we have representation from all of these countries and even more. Now, the service, right, our credential evaluation service is used not just for immigration purpose by federal government of Canada. It is also used by professional licensing bodies for licensing regulated occupations. It is used by universities and colleges for admissions purpose and by employers. Employers use us not only for hiring purpose, but sometimes for promotional opportunities in their company, as well as salary adjustments. Now, credential recognition. You may want to know, like, when you may need credential evaluation service. Generally speaking, it is understood that if you have a education from outside of Canada, and you're going to settle in Canada and pursue your career, your successful career path in Canada, it is highly recommended and it is required to get international academic credential evaluation or just get an evaluation report. It is required for licensing with certain occupational regulatory bodies, especially the professional levels, like we are talking about engineers, nurses, physiotherapists. It is required for higher education. You may have a bachelor's degree from your home country. Now you're in Canada, you want to do higher education, you want to do master's or PhD. Very likely you will be required to do credential evaluations. However, sometimes universities handle that themselves and sometimes refer you to WES or to other evaluation services. And of course, employment, we know, is a big one, right? We know most immigrants, when they land in Canada, seeking jobs, establishing the job which is relevant to their field of study or expertise and experience is a key, and you may need credential evaluation for employment purpose. And for immigration, I have to emphasize, we are only talking about requiring or needing credential evaluation for the express entry process. We are not referring to those who sponsored by who are sponsored through family class and some other programs. I think I covered this already. Again, the ECA is required for economic class immigration. The categories in express entry is in express entry. Now, about our services, I'm sharing a sample of our ECA with you today. As you see, if you apply for an ECA, this could be very similar to the report that you will be receiving from WES. First, we're going to highlight your Canadian equivalency summary, and if your equivalency in 4 years, we're going to emphasize that in parentheses that you have a 4 years bachelor's degree. Very important for you, and I think the very important for you is we will state your major and specialization. As you see under credential analysis in this sample, the major or specialization is mechanical engineering. Especially IRCC has started doing category-based express entry draws like STEM, engineering, math, sciences. I think the major, stating your major is a significant information in our ECA evaluation reports. Now, for ECA, the price is a fixed price. It is a package price, $240 per person. The turnaround time is 30 business days. We are the fastest service in Canada when it comes to ECAs, if we have, I can assure you that if we have complete and accurate documents, it even takes less than that, less than 30 business days to complete an ECA. One reason you may want to know that we are able to do ECAs very fast is because of our extended automated database. You can imagine we've been around for 50 years, and we have accumulated huge amount of information, the data on international education from countries outside of US and Canada. I think the automated database is making us able to have a very fast turnaround time, and like I can share that our database has it has information from over 60,000 universities and colleges around the world. And so far, in the last 23 years in Canada, we have assisted over 2.5 million individual applicants. Again, the significance of those numbers are we have collected a lot of documents, a lot of credentials. We have a very robust database. It is very likely that some of you already have an ECA. If you do, and if you land in Canada or when you will be landing in Canada, for higher education purpose, for employment purpose and licensing purpose, you will need to upgrade your ECA to a standard WES document by document or course by course evaluation report. We really made it very easy for you to upgrade what we call upgrade your ECA to a standard WES document by document or course by course evaluation report. You can do this in My Account. If you have a WES file, you have an account. You can do this in your account by upgrading your ECA to our standard evaluation report for licensing purpose, for higher education purpose, and for employment purpose. And of course, you will have a choice to select a recipient like a university or a licensing body to receive your standard WES evaluation report. Also, you don't have to pay a brand new fee or a separate fee for this upgrade. We have tried to make this as easy as possible for you to upgrade your ECA to standard WES evaluation report. The upgrades have its own fee, as you see here. You can upgrade your ECA to WES basic report or document by document report for $52, or for course by course, which is normally required by institutions of higher education and licensing bodies for $104. Another way to look at our upgrade services is you can upgrade any WES report that you may have for $104 per person. Now, this is the moment that I'm going to pass this virtual floor to my colleague Ruth Demecki to continue with this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Kevin. We'll continue our presentation. So we will have a look at the WES application process. So this is the required documents section. During your application process, you will be directed to the required document page to see what document to submit and how to submit them. I strongly suggest you to have a look at this section on our website before even starting your WES application. You can simply complete all the required fields and click on View Requirements. There are some documents which can be submitted from your end, but official documents like academic transcripts, statement of marks must be sent directly from your institution. WES now partners with over 7,000 international institutions to securely transfer digital documents and expedite the evaluation process for our applicants. On this section, you can check if your institution has digital partnership with WES. On this slide, we'll see the overview of the evaluation process. Step 1, applicants create an account and receive a WES reference number. One thing that I would like to remind you all is that when you create an account, make sure you use the same name as it is indicated on your official document, because WES prepares your evaluation based on the name on your official document. Step 2, applicants refer to required document, resources, ask awarding institution to send documents directly to WES, either by mail or via digital transmission. Step 3, we verify the credential, create a report, and deliver it to specified recipients. On this slide, we will see the recipient page. When you select additional recipients, you have two options. There is a search box where you can type the name of your recipient. That is an example on the left-hand side of the screen. When you type Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program in the search box, the system will bring the address of your recipient and show you the delivery method. The second option is a link of pre-approved list where you can click on and select your recipients. What you see on the right-hand side of the screen are some of the recipients from the pre-approved list. So when you select your recipients, you can either search by the name of your recipient, or you can simply click on the pre-approved list and select your recipient. For most credentials, a photocopy of your degree certificates or diploma is required. And if your documents are not English or French, photocopies of the English translated document are also required. This photocopy of your final degree certificates or diploma or any other photocopied documents, including English translated documents, can be uploaded in your account. So WES makes it very easier. You don't have to mail this document or you don't have to fax it. You can simply log into your account and upload this photocopied document, which are required from your end. We'll have a look at the WES Resources and Tools. Degree equivalency tool is a great tool, and we have it for a while. This free degree equivalency tool gives you an idea what your education is worth in Canada. And we encourage you all to use this tool before you apply for official evaluation credential assessment. What it means is that you can see your equivalency before even paying for the service. So once you have completed all the required fields, The result will be sent to your email. So this degree equivalency tool result, this is a sample of it. The information shows you the country of education, the name of the degree, name of institution, and equivalency in Canada. So these are the WES free tools and resources. The free degree equivalency tool is which we've looked at on our previous slide. We also have the WES Advisor blog, Trusted Advice for Academic and Professional Success, and WES Advisor newsletter, monthly email with helpful articles. You can check off these free tools on the link below each title. Use them, they're really very useful. We encourage you to use all these free resources and tools. So once you created a WES account, through your account, you can order status, you can make the payment, you can track your package, you can modify order, edit profile, and you can upgrade order. During your application process, if you have any problem, you can contact us either by email or phone, which is displayed on the left-hand side of the screen. This is a sample of our WES digital badge. When your evaluation is completed, you will receive an email from WES to claim your digital badge. WES digital badge has benefits for both applicants and employers. As an applicant, you can post your WES digital badge in your LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter. It is free of charge, awarded by WES, a recognized credential evaluation nonprofit. It differentiates you from other candidates, provided one-click verification of your international education, increases your marketability to employers, and it provides one place to collect and manage all your credentials. Thank you very much. We will end our presentation here. And if you need more information, please visit our website. So I'll pass the virtual floor to Karim now.
Thanks a lot, Ruth and Kevin, for the great presentation. We've received a few questions on the PowerPoint slides. Yes, we will be emailing them to all of you by tomorrow. And in addition, this webinar is being recorded, and you'll have the ability to watch the recording when we share that with you also via email tomorrow. We've received a lot of great questions. Just as a friendly reminder, please do not share your WES reference number in the chat for your own personal security. We've shared with you how you can contact WES afterwards to follow up on your reference number. We'll share that information with you again in case you haven't seen it. In the meantime, please go ahead and continue to share your questions in the chat box on the screens in front of you. And we are going to do our very best over the next little while to answer as many of your great questions as possible. Please be patient with us. We've gotten a lot of questions. We have made note of them, and we're now going to go ahead and address them. So Angela asks us, her maiden name is on her degree. Does she need to submit her marriage certificate to WES to prove her identity?
Ruthie, you want to go for that? You
Yes.
kind of spoke to that, actually.
Yes, exactly. When you create an account, make sure that you use the same name as your document. That's our suggestion.
Perfect. Al-Saida asked, does WES conduct ECAs for high school diplomas?
I'll take that. Yes, we do. We do. If you have already kind of reviewed our website, especially for ECA, you may notice that we encourage you kind of to submit your highest academic attainment, right? For ECA, we encourage you are actually not just us. For ECA, you are encouraged to submit your highest academic attainment or credential, because you're going to get more points for the highest one. Now, if you decide to include your high school diploma in the package, absolutely, we will evaluate it. Now, you may have heard, perhaps, you may have heard WES doesn't provide WES doesn't provide course-by-course evaluation report for high school credentials. If that is the case, yes, that is correct. We do provide credential evaluation for high school diplomas, except not the detailed course-by-course one. I hope that helps. Okay,
excellent. So on this point, Kevin, we've received this question quite a few times. What is the difference between document-to-document evaluation and a course-by-course evaluation?
Excellent. That it is good. Like I know our sample was, because of the topic of this webinar, right? Our sample was only ECA. Now, if you recall the sample that we showed you, the sample of ECA, you may think that our document by document is very similar to that ECA sample. In other words, we're going to state your academic equivalency right on top for ease of use. Then under credential analysis, we're going to state when the degree was awarded, your major, the name of the university, and all of that. Now, in the course-by-course evaluation, by the way, we have a sample on our website. I encourage you to find that sample and look at it. In the course-by-course, we do something very different. And it is very, very valuable for universities and colleges. Not only we provide you that first page of the ECA or document by document, but also we list all of the courses you have taken in a chronological order that you have fulfilled a degree requirement. But that is not the value, the real value of a course by course. The real value is we will convert your credit hours. We will convert your grading scale from your home institution to Canadian semester credit and North American 4.0 scale. That is the real value of a WES course-by-course evaluation, that your credit hours are converted to Canadian semester credit, your grades are converted to 4.0 scale, and we provide you a GPA, grade point average. I hope that helps.
Perfect. That was extremely helpful, Kevin. Mashoud asks a very common question. We've received this a number of times already. How long does it take for a WES account and WES ECA to expire?
Ruti, you want to go for that?
Okay, I'll go for that. Once your evaluation, your ECA has been completed, it will be valid and visible for IRCC for 5 years. So 5 years later, if you want to renew your ECA, you can simply log into your account and order a duplicate report. That will renew for another 5 years. But if your evaluation is just a regular, there's no any expiry date for your credential assessment.
This is a very common question we've received. A number of participants have asked, am I able to send my transcript over to WES in a sealed envelope, or does the transcript have to be sent directly from my institution to WES?
Really, the best advice both me and Ruth can give you is, please follow the instruction on the required document on the website. For certain countries, you will see that we do accept sealed envelope, sealed by the institution, by the way. It has to be sealed and stamped by the issuing institution. For certain countries, we do so. Really, the best recommendation we have is follow the required documents on WES website. The reason for that is WES required documents, they are not only country specific, they are institution specific. Ruth already covered this in her part, especially pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. we established so much, thousands of digital partnerships with overseas institutions. And we share that information with you under the country of education, which is relevant for you. So if we have a digital partnership, you don't even have to worry about the sealed envelope. All you have to do is contact the university. We receive the documents digitally through secure sources, through secure paths, and it is very fast, believe it or not. Your documents, through digital transmission, your documents could be received in less than 1 week. I'll leave it there.
Kevin, you touched on this earlier in your presentation, in your remarks. Mehul asked, what is the process for getting a WES evaluation renewal, and what documents would I need to submit?
Is that renewal reference to the upgrades, by the way? Is that what we are referring here? I know it is hard to clarify the questions.
Yeah, well, let's assume that someone had obtained an ECA from WES over 5 years ago.
Right.
It's expired and now they want to renew it.
All they have, excellent. Like actually, let's just kind of stay to the basics, right? So when we say ECA, it is understood that it is for IRCC, for Express Entry Process. And as my colleague Ruth mentioned, ECAs from IRCC point of view, this is the IRCC requirement. They have 5 years expiry, right? After 5 years, they expire. What you could do is very simple, and it is cost effective too, believe it or not. 6 months before your ECA expires, request additional report from WES to go to IRCC, right? That is going to cost you, if I remember my figures, $52. All you have to do is spend $52, ask WES to reshare your ECA with IRCC. That automatically renews your ECA for 5 years. Now, the only issues could be if you had a policy change on certain credentials, certain academic credentials. We may have to ask some questions, or we may have to revise the report and all of that. But 99% of the time, it is a very, very simple process by requesting an additional report to go to IRCC. I hope that helps.
Excellent. This is a very common question. Sarah asks it, but others have as well in the chat box. Do both my spouse and I need to get separate ECAs if we want to create an Express Entry profile?
Ruthie, you want to go for it?
Okay, thank you, Karim. No, you have to submit a separate application form.
Okay, so Sarah and everyone else, yes, you do need to submit separate applications for ECAs because, of course, you and your partner have separate credentials.
Yeah. And it is in your best interest to do that, right? Like, again, I have to be very careful here. I cannot provide immigration advice here. I have to be very careful. But again, if both of you apply, like again, it is on IRCC websites. You may get additional points. The primary applicants will get points for ECA, as well as the spouse, accompanying spouse, could get additional points for ECA. So I think I better stop there.
This is a very common question we're receiving. I can go ahead and answer it. And if there's anything you want to add, Ruth and Kevin, please feel free to jump in. The question is, do I need to take an IELTS or CELPIP English test or even a French test if I go ahead and get an ECA from WES? The answer to that is yes, because getting a language test is a separate process from getting your credentials evaluated. It's one of the requirements that is needed if you're going to go ahead and apply for economic class immigration to Canada. So if you have foreign education, you will need to get an evaluation by a provider, from a provider such as World Education Services. And you also need to take a language test that is designated by IRCC. In English, the two tests that are designated are CELPIP and IELTS. Is there anything you guys wish to add?
Absolutely nothing. And I'm glad you answered that question, by the way. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So this is a very common question. And I do want to congratulate those that are working on additional degrees and diplomas and are about to graduate. So Jacqueline has a master's degree. She's currently working on obtaining another diploma. She hasn't yet graduated. Can she go ahead and apply to get an ECA for her forthcoming diploma, or does she need to wait until graduation?
Our best recommendation is submit a completed degree, certificate, diploma to WES. Of course, we can evaluate it. We do evaluate incomplete studies. If I can simplify it, we do evaluate incomplete studies, and you may get some kind of an equivalency for that. However, for your best, for your own interest, best interest, submit us completed degrees, certificates, or diplomas. If you, what you could do though, is submit WES application with what you already have, right? With what you already have. And later on, once you have, and you will get an evaluation report from us. Once you completed that additional credential, you can apply for upgrade. Remember the upgrade conversation we had during the presentation? You can apply for WES upgrade, and we will kind of examine that credential as an upgrade process.
Perfect. We have a question here. Sorry, I missed the name. I apologize. But the question is, if I've completed credentials from multiple institutions, do I need to pay multiple ECA application fees, or can I only pay one fee?
Okay, I can jump in on this. WES only charge you for all your credentials. That's the difference with the WES. So we don't charge you for separate credentials for each credentials. So it's just one flat fee for all your credential. You can submit as much credential as you have. We only charge you one flat fee.
Perfect. Thank you, Ruth. I can go ahead and answer this question. Janine asks, if WES determines my credential is equivalent to a Canadian degree, can I claim Express Entry CRS points for having Canadian education? Unfortunately, you can't, and the reason for this is to claim those points, you have to have obtained the credential while studying in Canada. This is a great question, and this falls within WES's mandate, of course, and I'll allow Kevin and Ruth to elaborate on the mandate. The question from Azucena is, where can newcomers learn more about how they can work in Canada in their desired fields?
I'll go first, and again, this is the area that Ruth is very knowledgeable, and I please add to my comments, Ruth. Really, like my best recommendation is, once you land in Canada, we have extensive settlement sector in Canada. That is what we call extensive settlement sector. These are agencies, not-for-profit agencies, dedicated their activity, their operation to assist immigrants and refugees to successfully settle in Canada. Especially to do job search, they have employment assistance services. That is a generic word, employment assistance services. Almost all these settlement sectors, they will have some kind of a employment assistance services. And And my first recommendation is once you landed in Canada, use those services. It is very possible that you will find one very near where you're going to live. We have really good number of those settlement services in Ontario, especially in Ontario, in British Columbia, in Quebec, and all of that. My first recommendation is utilize those free services offered by the settlement sector. Those are free services for a reason. They are actually funded by our federal government, by IRCC itself. So they are really designed to make sure immigrants to Canada successfully integrate to our labor market. That is, like, if I have to emphasize one thing, it is the settlement sector. Ruth?
Yes, Kevin all mentioned everything. These settlement centers are nearby where you live. You just have to find out where they are, and they're really very helpful for newcomers. They can help you preparing with your resume. They can even connect you with employers. They have lots of free services. Yeah, I'll just add this on Kevin. Kevin mentioned everything. Thanks.
And just to add to what Kevin and Ruth have said, we've shared in the chat box a link to IRCC's website. This is the Canadian government, and the Canadian government provides funding to hundreds of institutions across Canada to provide these services to newcomers for free. You don't have to pay a single penny. To access the services, as Ruth noted, you can just click on this link and it'll tell you, it'll help you identify the closest centers to wherever you're residing in Canada. I like this question here. So Emayabang asks, my partner is a doctor who completed his medical degree over 20 years ago. Is his degree too old to be evaluated?
No. One of the way I always answer that is, does that degree in your home country has expiry date? Absolutely not. In any country that you have obtained that credential, or in your home country, or third country, academic credentials are for life. Academic attainment is for life. Now, it could be evaluated. Absolutely, it could be evaluated. If it is for the physicians, doctors, for ECA process, please do some homework. Please do some research. You have to do that through Medical Council of Canada. Again, if you are planning to practice, if one wants to practice, want to continue with that profession in Canada to become to practice as a physician, as a doctor, especially for ECA, for IRCC purpose, you have to go through Medical Council of Canada and not WES or the IRCC ECA designated agencies.
I know you've already touched on this, Kevin, but we have a number of participants in Canada who have similar questions. So Vanessa is working on her PhD here in Canada. Congratulations, Vanessa. We'll soon be able to call you Dr. Vanessa. She asks, can she go ahead and submit an ECA application to WES because she wants to go ahead and enter the Express Entry pool? She hasn't yet completed the PhD.
Yeah, the short answer is yes, absolutely yes. And again, I encourage you to review IRCC's own web pages on ECA. On ECA, if you have international education and we provide you ECA, for instance, for your bachelor's and master's, you're going to get points for those. And IRCC allocated limited points for education that you're going to obtain in Canada. So again, for those, best review IRCC's own website. But you're in a really good position, actually. You're in a really, really good situation.
This is a bit of a fun question. Let's just help our audience clarify this issue. A number of participants have asked, what is the difference between WES and an ECA?
There is no difference. That is why Kareem is framing it that way too. Like, let's just again decode this a little bit. Like ECA, Educational Credential Assessment, right? ECA is a term. It is a 3-word created actually initially by IRCC for economic class immigration process in 2013. Believe it or not, before 2013, ECA was not such a so-called commonly used phrase or 3 words. It wasn't. It is created by IRCC in 2013 for economic class immigration process. ECA refers to a particular evaluation report, not to a service, not to an organization. That is why if you look at IRCC's own website, they will say that they have designated 5 services. WES is one of them. They have designated 5 services to provide ECA. ECA is a type of a report for federal government, for IRCC, for Express Entry process, especially from January 2015 when Express Entry was launched. I hope that helps.
Excellent. So Kevin and Ruth, we have a number of participants in the United States, and they ask, we've completed evaluations for our credentials in the US. We're now looking to immigrate to Canada. Do we need to get a new ECA from WES Canada, or can we use our evaluation reports to assist us in our Canadian immigration applications?
Okay, I'll answer this one. You have to submit a WES Canada application form ECA. However, you may not submit the same documents you have submitted for WES USA. So what we'll do is we transfer your documents which you have submitted for WES USA to Canada. If there are any other additional documents, we'll let you know, but we'll use that document.
Thank you for that, Ruth. Shafiel asks, is it mandatory for me to send my highest educational credential to WES, or can I just send other credentials instead?
Again, like if you kind of when you are going through WES's required documents, right? And we really encourage you to review WES's required documents very carefully. For ECA, for Express Entry, again, let's be very clear. This is only for ECA, for Express Entry process. You are encouraged to submit your highest academic credential or attainment because you're going to get the highest point for that. However, WES is totally open to receive all of your academic credentials as long as they are academic in nature and provide you credential evaluation or ECA for every single legitimate academic credential you have. It is just encouraged versus your choice. If you choose to submit all of your academic credentials to WES from high school to PhD, we're going to evaluate it. However, if you decide only to submit the PhD, we're going to only evaluate that earned doctorate or PhD.
Mathieu asks, I was educated in the United States. Do I still need to obtain an ECA for Canadian immigration? And I guess what I'll do is I'll take the liberty of expanding on this question, Kevin and Ruth.
Sure.
Does one need an ECA if they've studied in countries with comparable education systems as Canada? Not only the United States, but let's say the United Kingdom and France, for example.
Yes, absolutely. So this is how it works, right? For Express Entry process, and even for other purposes, but I really don't want to mix other purposes like employment, higher education. But for immigration purpose, especially through ECA, IRCC is looking for Canadian academic equivalency. IRCC is not looking for US academic equivalency. In order to assign you those points for ECA, they have to see a report, an evaluation report, that it states Canadian academic equivalency. It is through those ECA reports, whether from WES or from the 4 other designated agencies, they establish that first, your documents were legitimate. Your documents were legitimate, your credential is legitimate, your credential, for instance, if it is a bachelor's degree, it is comparable to a 4 years or 3 years bachelor's degree, because you're going to get different points for those levels. And finally, really give you those ECA points for Express Entry Process. I have never seen any communication that that they will accept an equivalency from another country. Like I really have never seen that, and it doesn't matter you are educated in US. It doesn't matter you are educated in UK or in Commonwealth countries. To go through Express Entry Process, you need an ECA for the 3 economic class immigrations. You need an ECA, and that must state Canadian academic equivalency. If you remember that sample we showed you, right on the top of the page, it says Canadian academic equivalency summary.
We have a question here. How can I know if my university has some kind of digital agreement with WES?
Okay, I'll answer this one. When you go to the required documents section, which we mentioned it to you that before even you start your application form, WES application form, have a look at that required document section. You will know that if your institution is digital partner with WES. Even like we suggest you really, if they're not partners still with WES, so there is a form that you can suggest your institution to become a digital partner with WES, so it's easier to transfer documents digitally.
Excellent. So a number of people are asking, is this webinar being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded. Yes, we will share the link to the recording to you by tomorrow. I know, Kevin, you touched on this at the beginning of your remarks. A few people have asked this question again. How much does it cost to get an ECA?
You are testing my memory. Thank you for that. It is $240 per person or per package.
$240 Canadian.
240. Thank you for mentioning Canadian, Kareem. Yes, $240 Canadian. And again, going back to some of the previous questions, right? It is $240 per person. If you have a PhD, you want to evaluate everything you have from high school to earn doctorate or PhD. You can include everything. We will evaluate everything for that $240. In that $240 included, we're going to send 1 copy of the ECA to you, a hard copy directly to you, and another copy to IRCC that they can verify.
Kevin, sorry, you cut out very briefly at the end there. Can you just repeat that? Just the last couple of sentences.
I think my last kind of note was once we completed an ECA, we will send 1 copy of the report to the applicant, to you, a hard copy printed on a watermark, secure watermark, and we will share an electronic version of that with IRCC because they need to verify your ECA as well.
A number of participants asked the following question: how do I get my WES reference number?
Once you created an account and submit the application form online, the system will generate the reference number for you. So that's when you'll get reference number, when you complete it and submit your WES application form online.
Ruth, you touched on this near the end of your remarks. Can you elaborate on what a WES digital badge is?
The WES digital badge is where applicants can mention on their resume, or they can just post it on Twitter, Facebook, so that let people know that they have a credential assessment from WES. So it's free of charge. Once the evaluation report has been completed, we'll send an email to applicant, whether they would like to claim this WES badge or they would like to reject it.
Perfect. I like this question. I'm sure a lot of people have this. Mayoka asks, what's the quickest way to get an ECA from WES?
We are already the fastest service for ECA, really. Our turnaround time is 30 business days. We are really the fastest service in Canada for preparing an ECA. Now, my thinking is, I hope we have digital partnership with your institution. You can easily check that. Ruth provided that instruction. Go to our required documents, select your institution. I hope we have digital partnership with your institution. And if we do, believe it or not, it is very fast. It is fast. As soon as we receive your documents, it may take by far less than 30 days to complete your evaluation report or your ECA.
Perfect. Farah asks, is it possible for one to switch from a regular ECA, that is a doc-by-doc analysis, to course-by-course? She's already paid the fees, but she's yet to send her docs over to us.
Yes, absolutely. And I encourage you to do that soon. Especially if you are waiting for documents, that is the best part. You can contact WES customer service. Simply make it very simple. Don't make it a long email. Just say, I want to switch from course by course to document by document, or vice versa. I want to switch my file from document by document to course by course. If you started with course by course, we will send you a refund because course by course is more expensive. You can do most of these kind of changes, edits to your profile before we get to a point that we have done a lot of substantial work on your file. So do it soon. If you have made a decision, I encourage you to do it soon.
Perfect. And again, everyone, yes, this webinar is being recorded, and we'll be sharing the recording with you by tomorrow. Vanny asks, and I know we've touched on this already, her husband and herself have already received transcripts from their institutions in sealed envelopes. Can they compile the transcripts into one envelope and send it over to WES?
Yes, we really encourage you to send us separately, but if it is not possible, if it is easier for you, make sure that you indicate both reference number and send it to us.
Perfect. Let's take a few more questions. We received a lot and we've covered a lot of ground. Let's just see how we can continue to assist our participants as much as possible before we wrap up. Gilbert asks, is it possible, and I know we've touched on this already, is it possible to get your ECA extended after expiration?
Yes, absolutely. I would highly recommend watch for that expiry date, right? From IRCC point of view, your ECA has 5 years validity, 5 years. Watch that expiry date carefully. 6 months before it expires. Really do it 6 months before. Ask WES, request additional report to go to IRCC again. Again, that is going to cost you only $52. And we're gonna send your report. We're gonna send the updated version of your ECA to IRCC, and that automatically renews it for another 5 years.
Excellent. We have a question here. What do I do if my educational institution is not partnered with WES? What are my options?
When you say it is not partnered with WES, I hope you are saying that they don't have digital partnership, right? That is the reference. If you don't have digital partnership, that means no problem again. We have to receive your academic documents, hard copy through postal service or through those traceable mail like UPS and FedEx and all of that. So really, it is impossible. It is almost impossible that we will not be able to receive your transcript from an overseas institution. We've been doing this for 50 years. There is never an issue of receiving your transcript, except your institution may have minimal fee to release your transcript to yourself or to WES, right? Institutions have this practice. Like in Canada, it may cost you $10 or $25 to ask your transcripts to be released to another third party. So very likely your institution may have that kind of a fee, minimal fee. As long as you pay the fee, there should be no issue us receiving your transcripts.
Milin wants clarification on this topic. So for clarification, if we have different degrees from different institutions, are we able to send them to WES in separate envelopes and only be charged one fee of 240 Canadian dollars?
Short answer, yes. It's one fee. Absolutely.
Perfect.
And by the way, the institutions could be in different countries, and it happens quite a bit. Like you may have a bachelor's degree from one country, you have an MBA from another country. It doesn't matter.
Vanessa has a follow-up question. She's the one that's working on the PhD in Canada. The question is, I've already sent in my documents for evaluation. Is it possible for me to add another document for evaluation after I've submitted my EC application to WES?
Yes, if your evaluation report hasn't been completed, you can just provide us all the information about your other credential and send us an email, we'll add it. If your evaluation has been completed, as Kevin mentioned it, you can just upgrade your order and then you can add your credential.
Thank you so much, Kevin and Ruth, for your time. This brings us to the end of the webinar. Please feel free to reach out to WES after this webinar. We've broadcasted in the chat how you can contact WES, and they will be happy to assist you. We're also going to do our best to respond to the email questions that came in leading up to this webinar. Please be patient with us. This webinar was recorded. We will be sharing the recording with you and the PowerPoint deck by tomorrow. Before we wrap up, I'd like to thank you once again. I'll now turn things over to Kevin and Ruth to provide us with the final word.
Thank you, Kareem. First, again, thank you so much for including WES in this webinar. We greatly appreciate this. Thank you again. My final word, really my true best wishes to all of you in all you will do. If it is immigration as a first step, my best wishes to you in your immigration journey. Later on, when you land in Canada, my best wishes on your employment search. If you're going to do higher education or if you're going to seek license to practice your occupation, My best wishes to you. One last kind of recommendation is if you are trying to find more information about Canada, I urge you not to just listen to your close relatives and friends. I urge you to do some independent search, just simple Google. Do some homework yourself to make sure the information you are hearing, it is valid. It is not kind of a second-hand information. So it is really do some homework, do some search yourself. Make sure what you hear from your close kind of network, they are really solid information, and they are gonna help you to succeed in Canada. Thank you.
Thank you, Karim, and all of you who attended this webinar. We wish you all good luck and lots of success on your immigration, employment, licensing, and education process. Good day and good evening.
Thank you, everyone.